like a portable toilet, man. Like something like. That's why we're here. Come on. We're not just here to enjoy a Michelob Ultra.
This is that synthetic banana that you find in candy.
I'm getting a very bushy, very ass-like aroma. Welcome back to the Beer Brackets Pub, everybody. And this is going to be a fun one. Alessandro and I, prior to starting this recording session here in the pub, we're talking about the diversity of beer exploration and how this is so important, and how sometimes exploring these types of beers, some people might say the bottom of the barrel of the beer. Some might say. The bottom of the barrel. I'm not saying it's us. Some might say. Also, some might say a fantastic beer, Michelob Ultra. It is time, buddy, to put this beer under the ultimate beer microscope that is a Beer Brackets beer review and find out what score on 5 our friend here, the Michelob Ultra, comes out with. So you've had this one before, right?
Yes, I have. I have tried it before, my friend. But I will say I might have been rushing on my judgment of it. So I'm actually very, very excited to try it with you here tonight, because like as we very well know, a beer bracket review setting is quite different. So it allows you to take the time and appreciate the beer. So we'll see what that has to tell us, what story it has to tell us.
I've never had this one before. I've heard about Michelob Ultra. I have some friends who love this beer and drink it regularly. Okay. I've never tried it. So it's a little bit of a mystery for me. So I'm excited. They sponsor the PGA Tour. They're very associated with professional sports in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. Only 90 calories for this 355 milliliters, which is extremely low, right? 4% ABV, only 3 grams of carbs. So if you're trying to keep that, that beer gut down, people might like to go with the Michelob. And the Michelob brand going back to 1898, right? The standard, the regular Michelob has been brewed since then. So you told me about like those teardrop bottles, right? That they were known for, I believe, in the 60s and the 70s.
It's Michelob Light, good taste. Good taste. Like Michelob Light runs in the family.
I believe so, and I hadn't heard about that before. So in my mind, like this is what Michelob looks like, because ever since I moved to the US, this is kind of like the branding that they've used. Today I was doing the research, and I didn't know about that,
beer
like
research.
The teardrop bottle. And I loved seeing all those old pictures and the shape of those bottles, like made it so
cool,
unique.
Right?
Yeah, right. And obviously, like we're discussing for obviously financial reasons, making it easier in a bottling line to use regular bottles. It has like a little fascination to think about those times when the bottle also gave a completely different experience. And I think still to this day, like some beers like tend to go with a different type of different shape of bottle, and it helps like delineating them on the shelf first of all. But I also would argue that it gives you a little bit different of a beer experience. And
I had no idea that the name Michelob actually refers to a small town in Germany, Michelupy. And that's Michelob brand has a lot of like German-inspired beers like Box, and I've never seen them in Canada. I've only ever seen under the Michelob brand. I've only ever seen the Ultra. But you were telling me that you've seen some there, like the Bock specifically.
Yeah, the Amber Bock. Yeah, right.
The Amber Bock, there you go.
Yes, exactly. It's one that is readily available here, at least in the stores. Most stores, like you can find it in bottles, but more towards the sweet side. Definitely nice and malty. Type of beer that is good to see on the shelf every now and then. But one thing that I wanted to mention, you said that the name comes from this town.
Michelob.
In Michelob, exactly, which used to be a part of Germany. If I'm not mistaken, my friend, this used to be a town where a famous name of beer had like a brewery, Mr. Anton Dreher, which was part of the beer spies.
Beer thief.
The beer thieves spies, like and that went on a trip to. Yes, they went on a trip with the owner of Spaten and went to England and studied their pale ales to figure out like what they were doing, bring those yeasts back, analyze them, and pretty much like started the pale lager movement that introduced, that eventually brought us like what we now think is beer. You know, we think this like clear, crystal clear, golden color that like was all inspired by these gentlemen.
So there's a really interesting sort of history around Michelob as a brand, but the Ultra itself has been around since the 90s. Again, you know, aimed at like the sporty crowd. People want to get into like that low carb, low calorie kind of light beer. Again, 4% ABV, ultra light beer. I must say, I have a Canadian version of Michelob Ultra that's brewed by Labatt in Montreal. So you have the version that's brewed in St. Louis, Missouri, I believe. So we are reviewing two separate versions of Michelob today, the Canadian Michelob Ultra and the American. I would assume you don't get the Canadian one and you get the St. Louis.
No.
Yeah.
I was going to check, but it's in St. Louis, Missouri.
So here we go, man. We might get slightly separate results, although normally when it's brewed under license like that, you know, same ingredients, same recipe. So it's normally relatively similar, but we'll find out. Let's see, man. I think we should crack these beers open and let's get this Michelob review started, dude. Let's do this.
Let's do it, my friend. Let's do it. And I want to point out that, like, as always, I have the family size here because I like to make sure that there's always enough.
I'm getting a very bushy. I'm getting a bushy aroma from this. It's kind of like
it's the signature from Mr. Bush.
It's kind of like bananas and sewage and raw sewage. Banana sewage. All right. My first look at Michelob Ultra. Okay, wow. Like that is light. Like it feels light in the glass. It doesn't even feel like I have a liquid in here. It feels like it's beer air. Like it's a beer gas.
Yeah, it feels very light.
It's a gaseous beer.
It's an ethereal beer.
This is an historic moment in beer brackets. This is a big brand. I always love when we tackle these big brands. It's so much fun. Aroma, cheers.
Cheers, my friend. Cheers to you.
Oh, that banana sewage.
Banana, but let's be more specific. It's not like a lot of time we use, you know, banana as a descriptor. I think this is that synthetic banana that you find in candy. I don't know, like that's the predominant flavor. I would say there's a strong malt, sweet malt extract presence. Like it's that sweet component that lingers all around that banana. I guess I can maybe imagine a little bit of the hops, like really on the side.
You're stressing it. You're like pushing it right now, looking for hops.
I'm really trying. I'm really trying.
You're really
I'm
trying.
imagining.
I can tell.
Them.
You're putting in your best beer effort, buddy. I can tell.
I wouldn't say it gets as Busch Lighty as I remember. Maybe it would be interesting to try side by side. As bushy, if we want to use as bushy as I remember. I think this one is more gentle on that kind of note. What do you think, my friend?
I'm so curious.
That's right. I have to give a score.
That's why we're here. Come on. We're not just here to enjoy a Michelob Ultra, which we'll see.
I thought for a second I thought we were.
No, you're just chilling. You're just chilling, having a Michelob, smelling a Michelob. I don't think there's anybody in history that has ever just relaxed smelling a Michelob Ultra.
Just have a great time.
As an activity in itself.
It's just the magic of the Beer Brackets pub. Like we're just here among friends and we're having fun. So like.
That's right, buddy.
But let's see. Score. That's important. 0.5 seems fitting. The only reason why I'm not giving it a 0 is because their harshness is somehow masked by the maltiness. But then again, like this type of beer is probably not meant to be smelled. Like it's really just meant to be drank like very cold.
I think it's meant to be drank really cold, like out of a bottle or a can, right? Or on draft. But then on draft, I seem to get these smells. Yeah, banana. Really strong synthetic banana, but like I said, like sewage banana, man. Like there's like that raw sewage that we got on Busch Light. Like I don't know what that is. I don't know what characteristic that is that we're identifying as raw sewage that has those kinds of
sulfur.
That's sulfury. I'm getting a little bit of that. I don't know if it's just like my Canadian version because like Labatt is a pretty sort of, in general, it's a subpar kind of brewery, and they have one or two beers that I like the Labatt 50 is fantastic, but everything else that they make is kind of. And even Labatt 50, it's not a great beer, but it's good. It's solid. It's just and it's a classic Montreal beer, so it has like its intangibles for me. But everything else that Labatt makes is not it's not the best. So I don't know. Maybe it has to do with that. Maybe yours. But this has like the Canadian Michelob Ultra has a sulfury, sewagey, kind of assy aroma to it. So assy. That's the first time I've used assy as a descriptor. Very ass-like aroma. I would say 0.5. There's a 0.5 because I'm tempted to go in and take a sip just because I'm curious. I'm very curious. And let's do that, my friend. Cheers.
Cheers to you.
My first sip of Michelob Ultra. All right.
All right.
Okay. Oh, that's not
All
bad.
right. Well, honestly, maybe smelling it was the right thing to do because I'm quite surprised.
They should have a warning on the beer. Do not smell this. Do not smell the beer. Warning:
right?
possible sulfuric fumes.
But maybe it was a good thing in the sense that we did. So now, like coming into the taste, it was quite a different experience because obviously you're coming in with all those strong, very potent aromas that are, I don't want to say harsh, but they're very pungent. Let's put it this way.
very
Pungent
for
is
sure.
a good descriptor. So you come from there and then you take a sip, and honestly, like it has a very mild presence. It's a very light malt presence. A bit of a bitterness, like very, very light and gentle. You get some of those banana notes, but they're not as pronounced. Coming into the taste, I find it actually a much better experience.
Yeah.
At least for the variation that I'm having. So I'm tempted to go with the 1, my friend. I think 1 is the right score here with for me, nothing crazy, but it's also nothing offensive. It's quite an okay experience. What do you think?
I'm having like a little bit of like a beer epiphany here. This is like, I'm having a beer moment.
Okay.
I did not expect this. Like coming from the aroma that was just like really sour and really just off-putting. The taste is something that I don't think I've ever quite tasted on a beer before.
Okay.
Like that banana's still there. It's almost like sweet, but sweet in a very kind of like creamy way. It's very hard to describe, almost like a vanilla, very faint. And again, this is like all the characteristics on this are very faint. So I'm like stretching to pull things out of it. Nothing too strong, not overly sweet, but there's something there that I'm liking.
Almost like that kind of flavor you would get on carbonated water at the end. A bit of that hint without getting too much.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much there. Yeah, I think one is fair. Yeah, because it's not bad. There's something unique there that again I don't think I've ever tasted on a light beer before. So, like quite like this. Buddy, mouthfeel, beer bracket tradition. Let's do a little bit of a refresher here.
And I made sure to have the family here size to have enough for this.
God, that can's huge. Look at that. Oh, the smell.
This can.
The smell is really like I got a whiff of like standing outside like a portable toilet, man. Like something like
well, once
What's
again,
with
like
that aroma?
It's the service here is we're pouring it.
I mean, is this just are you getting that too? Is that just the Canadian version? Is this just another Labatt?
I mean, it's there, but it's not. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking coming from the past experience, the Busch Light. I find it way toned down.
Yeah,
and it's there. It's there. That's why I was tempted. Like I don't know if I was gonna get that half point.
Yeah,
but
I find it stronger when you first pour it out too. Then it kind of dissipates.
Well, honestly, it's actually quite enjoyable because like the carbonation level is very good. There's not much head retention, as you can see. Like there's none. It cleanses your palate. It doesn't leave too much of oily stickiness. There is some. I think I'm gonna go as high as a 1.5. I find it like well done. Just thinking about the mouthfeel, like it for a light beer, is this what I am expecting? I think yes. I find middle of the road there is where I'm gonna land. What do you think?
And there's just not enough carbonation for me to be considered like a refreshing light beer. I like just a little bit more crispness. It's fine. Like I said, it's not overly oily. It's a little bit oily. It has like a little bit of like a creaminess to it, which I'm kind of enjoying, but it's just kind of like flat. So I think I'm going to stick with a 1, and it achieves what it's going for. I'm sure like this beer serves a purpose, right? And I'm sure the people who really like it for that reason. It's easy to drink. It's almost like carbonated water, like light carbonated water. Now the finish, I gotta say, the finish might be my favorite part of this beer. But go, what do you think?
I knew this was going to be tough, man. And it is. I'm struggling with descriptors because they are so faint, but yet they are there and they're very distinct because it evolves from that like maltiness that I mentioned on the taste. It turns back into this banana, and to me, that's on the finishes where I get more of that green apple note. Imagine like a Granny Smith, like, and you just like cutting it open, like that's the kind of taste there. I find that it builds up like in a way that for me is not incredibly pleasant. I think I'm gonna go with a 0.5, my friend, because I don't know, like
really,
to me that lingering taste that it leaves there, it's not really inviting. Like,
once again, I wonder if there really is that strong of a difference between the Canadian and the American versions of this, because I'm actually really kind of digging the finish. It's subtle, like you said. Everything about this beer is faint. It's like a beer whisper. You have to sort of catch that beer whisper in the wind. There's a little bit of like that note that I identified as like vanilla before, like green apple, like you said too. That's really faint and kind of like a little bit of sweetness, but it doesn't linger. It's just crisp and gone. The finish is my favorite part of drinking this beer. I'm going to go up to a 1.5. Well, my friend, as an overall beer experience for Michelob Ultra, from beginning to end, what do you think?
Just judging it based on the different scores, like you can be more or less harsh, but I think like overall, the aroma was not the greatest part. But I think as an overall, I think I'm going to go with the 1, my friend, because there are good elements. I think, once again, like pouring it out is not the play, but it's also, to be fair, like this is probably a beer that most people think and enjoy cold out of the can, out of the bottle, or ice cold, like out of the tap. So it's not necessarily being poured out like we're doing and giving it time to evolve. Like, so it's a slightly different experience.
Overall beer experience is definitely a 1. I'll agree with you on that one, even though I gave it, we both had a 1.5 snuck into there. I think that as an overall, it still averages out and falls at a 1. There's nothing bad there. It serves a purpose. I can totally understand why people drink this, especially if you're trying to keep your carbs down, keep the calories down. I completely understand why this could be appealing. If you want to chill just straight out of the can, it serves a purpose. I totally get it. Beers like Busch Light, I still don't get. I still have no idea why you would drink Busch Light.
Once again, like with the Busch Light, we absolutely did. We should not have poured that beer out. Like, that's a mistake, but that's also the beauty of it, because we did.
Well, calculating our final scores for Alessandro, 1.5 on 5, which on our rating system is a nice beer. Myself is a little bit higher. I wasn't expecting that. Now, the Canadian version of Michelob, 1.67 on 5, which is still a nice beer. It's just above its beer. Right? It's just above the beer category to get to nice.
It's just above. It made it through somehow.
Let us know down below, everybody. Do you like Michelob? Are you a Michelob drinker? Do you appreciate it for the low carbs and the low calories? Let us know. Yeah.
How do you drink it?
Yeah. Let us know. And whatever you do, don't forget to click that little beer bell and the subscribe button down below so YouTube will let you know when we're in the pub and you can join us for a beer anytime we are. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thank you. And no matter what, don't forget to close your beer brackets.